Can there be open hearts, open minds, and that ability to have common ground, or is this going to be all-out war with a Supreme Court nominee on the issue of abortion rights?
Well, you know, I think, you know, myself as a graduate of the University of Notre Dame Law School, I particularly was disappointed in Notre Dame. And I think you have to keep in mind that any institution that values human life should not have honored an individual who is advancing an agenda of expanding access and funding of abortion. So despite his soothing rhetoric of finding common ground, what President Obama is doing is basically...
Susan, I don't want to discuss what happened in the past because they've already honored him, and that's sort of done. I mean, he already got the degree. I think he already addressed it in that. What I really want to talk about here is how this is going to look forward. That now, is this just the kickoff? Are we going to see more of this when it comes to the president's nominee for the Supreme Court?
Well, I think there's no question that this is going to reach a boiling point this summer with the nominee for the Supreme Court, as well as health care reform, which will include funding of abortion. And so the president's attempt to have soothing rhetoric is just going to become more and more apparent that this is just a facade and a smokescreen.
Nancy, is it that? Is it a facade and a smokescreen?
Absolutely not. This president has expressed his pro-choice values consistently, and he has tried to change the tone of the debate. And by doing so, he said, where can we find that common ground? That place where we can reduce unintended pregnancy with access to birth control and contraceptives. Can we make sure young people have medically accurate sex education? That's where we should be able to agree, get beyond the divisiveness and the attacks, and this president has called for that, and I think America is ready for it. America is ready.
You don't find common ground by advancing step by step, week by week, an agenda of expanding access and funding of abortion. You don't find common ground. You don't find common ground by advancing an agenda that's targeting life-saving laws that have been on the books for decades.
What specifically are you talking about?
Okay, just last week, he introduced his budget for this current first fiscal year, and he is targeting for repeal a ban that has been on the books for decades that prohibits funding of abortions in the District of Columbia. And because he's going to repeal that ban, we will have thousands more abortions taking place in the District of Columbia that are funded with tax dollars.
Nancy, is that true?
This is politics of the past. This president has increased money for family planning. This president has asked us, again, to find ways to reduce unintended pregnancy. And this is the tone of the debate that has to change. It says, look, we may disagree on the issue of abortion care, but we can agree on the values of reducing unintended pregnancy through more access to contraception and family planning and medically accurate sex education. And that's what this president is talking about, and that's where the American people want. They want solutions and not the rhetoric.
His actions, not his words.
Okay.
You have to look at his policy.
We will look at his actions. I just want to play one more bite from the president's commencement address at Notre Dame, again, where he talks about trying to find common ground and finding alternatives to abortion. Let's listen.
Maybe we won't agree on abortion, but we can still agree that this heart-wrenching decision for any woman is not made casually. It has both moral and spiritual dimensions. So let us work together to reduce the number of women seeking abortions. Let's reduce unintended pregnancies. Let's make adoption more available. Let's provide care and support for women who do carry their children to term.
I do want to ask this question about common ground, Susan. Can you work together with other people who support abortion rights to reduce unintended pregnancies?
You know, we welcome the rhetoric of reducing abortions. We also want to reduce abortions.
No, I said unintended pregnancies. I said unintended pregnancies.
You know, yes, we have crisis pregnancy centers, some 3,000 across the country, people who are working tirelessly to help pregnant women to carry their pregnancies to term. They're all across the country, and they've been working for years.
And Nancy, what about that? Can you pledge to work together to make adoption more possible and reduce the number of abortions?
Absolutely. We have been working since 2005 to find those common sense solutions, and that increases money to family planning. That says it is a choice to have adoption, to have healthy pregnancies. Absolutely, all of those are places where the pro-choice community has been working for many years, so it's not new to us. To find those areas we can agree And again, if you can reduce unintended pregnancy in this country, you can reduce the need for abortion while keeping it safe and legal. And I think that's where the American public is.
I think we should just point out that just last week, Gallup released a poll that showed that the majority of Americans call themselves pro-life. And so if we're going to find common ground, let's go from the common ground that the majority of Americans, that's what the Gallup polls found, that the majority of Americans call themselves pro-life.
You know, that
let's
poll,
start from that
Nora,
premise.
That poll, Nora, does not square with what happened in the last few election cycles.
Okay,
We've elected a pro-choice president.
This is Gallup, a reputable
we elected a pro-choice president. We have elected new members to the House and Senate. We defeated the ban in South Dakota 2 times now. So the American public understands the importance of privacy and freedom. And yet they do want common sense solutions. And that's what the other side has not agreed
on abortion. They
Where
do
is their
not
voice
want
when it comes
unlimited
to
abortion on demand.
Where is their voice for those solutions and not the divisiveness?
Keenan and Susan Muscat, thanks to both of you. An important debate, and certainly I think one that's going to continue in the coming weeks, as we may get an announcement from President Obama next week about who he plans to name to the Supreme Court. Thank you to both of you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.